So the Sacramento Kings officially just fired Mike Brown after blowing a 10-point lead with 3 minutes left at home last night against the Detroit Pistons and losing in excruciating fashion. They decided enough was enough, and that was it for Mike Brown, a guy who just signed an extension in June, a 3-year extension through 2027, and now 13-18 in 12th place in the West. They get fired. They've lost five in a row. They've lost 12 of their last 17. Have lost 13 clutch games this season. Just a quick and dramatic descent for a Kings team and a coach that seemed like brought so much success very quickly to Sacramento, and then just as quickly as it succeeded, things quickly failed, and Mike Brown, less than 2 seasons after winning Coach of the Year, is now without a job. So I know I just made a Sacramento Kings video earlier today, actually. I kind of wish I hadn't made that video now, because that video would have been good to mix in with this video, but that video was made before Mike Brown got fired. Y'all can still go watch that for my more in-depth thoughts on the Kings. But we're going to talk about how this firing changes this team, but also how I'm not totally sure it actually is going to make that much of a difference. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I'm uploading every single day, multiple videos a day, back to uploading super consistently now that I am back from my Christmas vacation. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. With that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it and let's break this down. So Mike Brown is now gone. The interim coach, as I record this video, has not been announced yet, but it will likely be one of their assistants, Jay Triano, Doug Christie. A couple guys like that are candidates, but nobody who I think is like clearly in line for a head coaching job in the NBA. So unless this interim coach, whoever it winds up being, somehow creates a huge turnaround in Sacramento, there's a very likely, I think, outcome to be seen that the Kings very much could be hiring a new head coach in the offseason. Not only that, rumors are very clearly swirling about De'Aaron Fox's future in Sacramento. It's something I talked about in the video I released earlier today, and I think that is an absolutely huge topic of discussion. That this firing, I think you wonder if this firing is intended to appease De'Aaron and hopefully be like, okay, we're willing to make moves, we're willing to change things up, we want you to stay, we want to succeed. But I also kind of wonder if it's a sign of just impending collapse, basically, in Sacramento, because here's my biggest thing. There is only one big change that I think an interim head coach can make on this Kings team that will have a significantly noticeably positive effect, and that is playing Keon Ellis more. If you look at Keon Ellis this season, he's a 40% three-point shooter on over 3 attempts a game. He was a 40% three-point shooter last season, but he's only averaging 6 points a game, only playing about 20 minutes a game so far this season. He's playing less than half the game. And if you look at the numbers, he has been, by on-off stats, the best Sacramento King this season by a decent chunk at 12.5 points better per 100 possessions that he plays for the Kings. And so if I look at this team, I mean, their most effective lineup that has played a significant amount of minutes together and a significant number of possessions by far is this De'Aaron Fox, Keon Ellis, the 2, DeMar, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis lineup that is 25 points per 100 possessions better together in 100 possessions. He should 100% be playing more. I mean, even this Keon Ellis at point guard lineups that have played 90 and 65 possessions respectively have been super duper effective, 31 points per 100 possessions and 26.5 points per 100 possessions better as well. Clearly, a lot of the Kings' best lineups that have played significant minutes this season have Keon Ellis in them, because a guy who is an elite level point of attack defender and a great 3-point shooter is a skill set that is insanely hyper valuable in today's NBA. That is a 30 minute per game guy who is playing 20 minutes a game. And I think that's one of the biggest shortcomings this season for Mike Brown has been the questionable rotations and the struggles of the roster as a whole. And look, this is an offense that was one of the greatest in the history of the NBA 2 seasons ago, and now is just slightly above league average offensively. They have gone from a great 3-point shooting team, incredibly exciting, incredibly clutch team, to a team that, again, has lost the most clutch games in the league and is in the bottom 7. If the stat I looked at yesterday is correct, if I remember correctly anyway, they were bottom 7 or bottom 8 in 3-point percentage in the league. And so that has taken an offense that was truly incredible and incredibly clutch, and all of a sudden they're a not great offense and they're not clutch. despite having, in theory, two of the most clutch players in the league in DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox. So there's a lot of issues, I think, on the surface for this Kings team. And my biggest concern is, besides playing Keon Ellis more, which is clearly something that I think an interim coach needs to do, I'm not sure you can still fix this team to be a serious contender in the West. We look at the standings before we talk about the players in the roster. They are currently the 12 seed. They are 3 games back of the play-in, 2.5 games back of the 11 seed, and almost 5 games back, 4.5 games back of the 6 seed. That's already out of the question, in my opinion. Making the play-in, I think, is the goal for this team. But the problem is, I look at every team above them, all 11 of these squads, and I think healthy, all 11 of those teams are better than the Kings. And that's not a good spot to be at all. 5 losses in a row, clearly not playing very good basketball. With your best player in De'Aaron Fox, definitely rumored to be wanting out. I would not be shocked if this winds up being a rebuild in Sacramento, which is a really unfortunate thing for a franchise that has experienced almost nothing but struggles over the past 2 decades, besides the last 2 seasons, basically. It has been nothing but disaster in Sacramento. And while De'Aaron Fox would fetch a hefty trade package of multiple picks and likely a couple of young assets as well, I don't know if that haul is going to be enough to facilitate an effective rebuild in a Sacramento market that, again, is not huge, is outmatched by all the other California markets around it for the NBA, and is not at all a free agent destination or a proven draft development hub, I guess. They don't do an elite job of developing draft picks. So you sit here and you look at it, and it's just like, the things need to get better now so that they don't lose De'Aaron Fox, so he doesn't officially ask out, right? And I think that's the idea of firing Mike Brown. But if you look at the roster, where is all this improvement going to come from? De'Aaron Fox is having a good year. I know he's not shooting the 3-ball incredibly well, but he's never been an elite level 3-point shooter. Sabonis is actually shooting the 3 great. He's at 42% on relatively low attempts a game, but still averaging 21 and 13.5, having a really good year. Keegan Murray has apparently forgotten how to shoot the basketball. Not sure what happened there. He's below 30% from 3 this season now, which is bizarre for a guy who was a 41% shooter on pretty high volume his rookie year. Came into the league as an elite level 3-point shooter. What has gone wrong there? DeMar DeRozan was one of the dumber offseason additions, I think, in the entire league. Not because I think DeMar DeRozan is a bad player. I actually think he's a very good player. But he is a high-volume mid-range shooter in a league that is not shooting a lot of mid-ranges. And complain about that all you want, it's not a very efficient shot. And he's 30% from 3 on very low volume. Malik Monk is having a fine year, but not great. Kevin Huerter, who used to be one of the more elite sharpshooters in the league on the wing, is at 31% from 3 this year. Somehow he's playing more minutes than Keon Ellis, and Malik Monk is too. I don't understand that, considering neither of those guys provide the point of attack defense that Keon Ellis does by any means. They struggle with big man depth. I mean, Trey Lyles is an okay player. Jay Crowder is washed. Alex Len has been bad. Doug McDermott was brought in to try to be a shooting asset, but all he can do is shoot. I don't think he really provides any other value to this team besides that. I look at this team. Their first-round pick, Devin Carter, is out for the year because of a freak injury. It's a shame, but where is the improvement going to come from is basically my point. I think this is going to end badly in Sacramento, and I think De'Aaron Fox is going to get traded. Will he get traded this year? I'm not sure, but I would be shocked. This firing feels like just the beginning in a likely succession of unfortunate events for Sacramento Kings fans. I'm sorry to say it, but I think y'all's Linsanity run has already come to an end. That's going to do it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.